Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be.
Hello and good afternoon. It is Friday and it was bank holiday yesterday, and I genuinely just had this feeling this morning that I wanted to turn out in my bed and keep sleeping, and I've been tired all day, so here we are. But I'm trying to be fit and fresh. Good morning, Rev. I hope you've had a wonderful week as well. Mine has been, well, it's I've been a little bit exhausted somehow. I'm probably too little sleep, even though I think I've been sleeping. Did enjoy myself yesterday. Hello, hello, great to see you, and good morning, Susan. So yeah, I'm a little bit, yeah, I feel a bit knackered, to be honest. So if I seem like a child who's totally hyper, trying to stay awake, that's probably just because I'm tired. Good. I've been working. I finished up a skein of yarn, like day before yesterday, Wednesday evening, because I continued working and started on the decreases for the waistcoat. Now I'm just at a point where I need to do some decreases for the arms, and I am not completely sure how to approach the pattern. I understand the pattern, so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm stuck. I'm just too tired to sit down and read and comprehend a drops pattern. So it's been slightly temporarily postponed to, I guess, probably this weekend. But I will show you guys how far we have gotten. Look, this is the piece so far. So this is the back pattern, and as you can see here on the side, I've been slowly increasing. And now I need to do some decreases for for the arm gaps. So that's pretty much it. That's the second skein currently working. So I think the color looks great. I'm happy with the progress. I just, as I said, now I just need time to actually read and understand what to do next, because I think it is written a little bit confusing. And let's be real, right? It's a drops pattern. What should I actually expect? As you can see, I'm still in a poncho and my scarf and in a blanket and everything, because haha, it's still like autumn here. It is chill. It is a little bit warmer. Yesterday was really cold. Yesterday was like 10 degrees. It is definitely getting warmer. Let's check if Nightbot wants to share the weather world with us. And the crazy thing is, next week, my friends, it's gonna be so hot. It's like next weekend, it's gonna be like 26 plus degrees. So like we're heading into the 80s. And now it's like, well, in the 50s, right? Just 2 days difference. Boom, bam, summer, spring gone. I don't know. It's a bit crazy. Technically, June is also a spring month, but yeah. So that's a little bit the crazy stuff right now. So the temperature here is mostly cloudy with a temperature of 52 degrees Fahrenheit, 11 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from west at 10 miles per hour, and the humidity is 63. In New Jersey, the weather is quite similar, I would say. It's cloudy with a temperature of 52 degrees Celsius, also 11 degrees. Wind is blowing from west northwest, and the humidity is 74. In Waco, it is partly cloudy with a temperature of 69 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from south, and the humidity is 91. It is also always pretty humid at your place, Rev. So I think maybe, who knows, maybe that weather station is definitely placed close to the lake. Who knows? Anyhow, what we also had is that I also spent some time, especially yesterday, and did I also do it a little bit Wednesday? I don't remember now, but I definitely worked on this yesterday on the Heart Collectors Shawl. And as you can see, we had a color change. We are into the lighter colors. We had the color change right there on the last row, so on the very last bit. So I just had the color change happening. And we are working on this next row, which seems to not be an increased row. So I was actually just wanting to work on the Heart Collectors today. So I did not have to weave in ends on this color change, because it is the straight change into this. And what is this color it goes into? I think it's coral going into flamingo or something like that. Oh my goodness. Hobby could help us here, because Hobby obviously knows the colors I got. If I just log in, I could go and check. I would think, if Hobby is so kind to share with us what it would be. No, yeah, well, flamingo. Before it goes light peach, and the last one is cream. So this is flamingo. We are heading into quote unquote flamingo. So yeah. And the goal is basically just to keep cracking on this today. I don't know if we will make to get the full repeat done for this row, because I just started the row. Like you can see, I only did a couple of stitches. But yeah, so that's the goal for today. Let me just pop it over there and get you guys down to my workstation, and then I can catch up on chat. But yeah, I'm cold. So, like that. In a month it won't be so. Not looking forward to the 110 degrees plus weather. No, I can imagine that. That sounds yuck. But yeah, here we have the cake, and as you can see, we are into like the light, very light colors. Here is the flamingo. So the darker ones into coral, and the lighter ones here is the flamingo color. So we are turning more and more peachy pinky. And it is a heck of a huge shawl to work with. So we're slowly also getting to a place where it's just impractical. here on the table, but we'll have to do our darnest best. Some of it's gonna end up in my lap, and we will have to see. But yeah, it's just, double crochets and some chains. I'm skipping some stitches in between, and then, it's so far pretty simple. This row is, at least. This is not a row where I do increases, so that's simple enough. And yeah, I think none of us wants worse weather. In 2020, we had the worst summer ever. 100 days of 110 degrees Fahrenheit, no rain, no clouds, no nothing. It was awful. Oh, that's horrible. That's where you feel you're confined to inside your home and hope you have solar panels and air coast running, because else that is intolerable. My goodness. How many more rows? Oh, I don't know, actually. I should find the pattern. I'm just cracking on based on the knowledge I have from last night. Give me a moment. I will find the pattern and I will see if I can figure out how many rows the pattern says. But right now, I kind of figured out how the pattern goes. I still need to check up once in a while, but I have a good idea of how it generally goes and flows. So if I get to a point where the pattern ends, but I have a little yarn left and I can figure out I may be able to do a couple of more rows with that yarn I have left, I'm probably going to do that just to use up the yarn. But I am at row, let's see. Did I do 16 up here or did I do 17? 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. So I'm at row 45. So I'm at row 45. That's page 22. And how many rows are there to go? Row 50, 52, 53, 54, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. There's technically 60 to 61 rows, but it also says here at the end of the pattern, you may find that you have yarn over if your tension isn't as loose as mine. You can either continue with row 61 or you can choose to repeat rows 50, 49 to 60, 52, or 50, 75 to 60. How many extra rows you can do depends on your personal tension. So basically it does open you up for being able to keep doing rows, but I have at least 15 rows to go. And looking at the yarn, I will definitely have more yarn than that. But that said, every row, when I do have my increase rows, adds a crap ton of extra stitches. Sorry for my words. And what we could do for funsies is we could maybe just try to calculate how many stitches I have in row 45. Just for funsies, I like fancy calculations. So we have per side count 32 double crochet stitches in so we have 17 on the side. Oh, per side count 32 double crochet stitches with, okay, so we have the 32 double crochet stitches plus the extra. Okay, yeah, so we have, yeah, I need to do double math here. So we have 29 pieces of 8 plus 8 is 16 plus 2 is 18 plus 32. Then we have 3 sets of 6 stitches each, which is 18 on top. And then we have the point, but why one point? It should have multiple points. And that point is Ah, I know. They don't count that point with. Okay, I gotcha. And then we have 10, 10 plus 22. 594 in one side multiplied by 2. In total, we have 1188 stitches in this round. Holy crap. 1188 stitches, my friends. Yeah, so that is where we are at. And I don't know. I can go ahead and calculate, I guess, as well how many we would have in the end. 2, 4, 6, 8. But I'm sure it's gonna be a lot. It is definitely a lot of stitches right now. 1188 stitches before I've done this row. And I feel pretty safe to say almost that I will be very happy if we manage to finish this row before the end of the stream. But subconsciously, I do not know if we will manage to do so. Also, I do have tea today. It is a black tea in the forest fruit flavor for those interested and curious. Meanwhile, Rev finished all his vet donation blankets, so he is back to working on the crochet along by Juan. Having a couple of easy rows, I will work during the stream, but I will have to put off messing with the cables until after. Ah, yeah, counting and cables. I still need to get into the cable part, but that's for the knitting. La la la. Need to figure out crochet-wise what future projects will bring. A part of me have really been debating if I should look in my stash and just grab a yarn and bring with me and make another ultimate sacrifice shawl. But I haven't done it yet. As I said, I do need some sort of easy project to bring with me on the go. 2, 4, 6, 8. I am also debating that I could instead bring. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look in my stash for easy projects to bring, because I do believe I have some bucket hats I could also still make, and it is bucket hat season, and Selena still haven't gone through and taken those photos. Well, she has taken photos, but she hasn't uploaded and done active stuff with it, and Stina needs to really get ready with that. So I need to kick myself in the ass and get it done, to speak plainly. Why haven't I done it yet? 2, 4, 6, 8. Meanwhile, Rev says, do not forget to like the stream. Also subscribe if you haven't done it yet. It is free and makes Teen smile. It does make me smile. And also, I promised you Wednesday, and I will want to keep that promise, that once we hit 2K subscribers, I will give away another free pattern, free pattern. I'll give away another pattern from Ravelry, if you have one on your wish list. So, yep. We will have another stream when I hit the 2K. We'll have a little celebration stream, and then I will give away a free pattern on Ravelry as a party day. I will not maybe necessarily have an extra stream. That depends on when we hit the 2K, 2, 4, 6, 8. But it will likely be one of these afternoon streams. Meanwhile, Rev says, here's the full set of 4 made for this drive. I will be washing them and packing them up today so they can be shipped tomorrow. It reminds me, I should be receiving something today with the post, because I went ahead and ordered myself some new slippers. Here is the 4 blankets that Rev did for the charity. They are all in these very national colors. Oh, I like this like merle blue you have in here. What blue? And the red is also like marble colored. So this is not the same yarns. Or did I see that right? Yeah, I did. They are different. What yarn are those? The blue and the red. What yarn are those? Let me know. Susan started knitting the sleeves for her sweater. She started in 2024. Well, better late than never is a saying in Denmark. It's to a big twist panoramic. The front and back panels are done. Just need to pick up a knit color. Sleeves are done. I'm knitting the two sleeves at the same time to make sure that they are the same length. Good plan. And I guess you started at the famous Sleeve Island. I mean, like, you know, if it's been laying since 2024, reminds me of another project of mine. But I've also decided it's gonna pass away, so to say. Um, but I think it's a good plan to do them simultaneously, so you're sure they end up being the same length. But yeah, so I don't know, Susan. I don't know if I'll have yarn left or if I can do more rows and whatnot when I'm done with this. But I guess once we get closer, we will have to look. Right now, I'm just cracking along, and I have plenty of yarn, so I'm not even at a state where I would even consider weighing and measuring and figuring out how much I use per row. Nope, not yet. It's the big twist pool time for the blue and cherry mix for the red. Ah. But I was right. It was definitely different yarns. I like those. Now I feel like, yeah, more variegation. This is like a slow variegation compared to, right? Because it's slowly transitioning. And I agree with Susan. They are beautiful. But somehow those red and blues, they, you know, especially the yeah, mixed reds and blues, they look like really nice colors. They were really talking to me. That would probably be yarn I would walk past in the store and I would be like, yeah, I need to figure out a project for you guys. Then I would buy it with me home. It's a toss up between Nana June's and the variegated blanket as for which one is my favorite. Yeah, I can understand. I like both of them. Oh my goodness. Don't ask me to choose. I couldn't do that in 2 weeks, unless I did nothing else, which probably that wouldn't happen very quickly for me. Um, there's always something to do, right? Oh my goodness. I can even yawn. 2, 4, 6, 8. I think these also had 2, 4, 6. Yep. So we're just cracking along here. But we finally had a very, I think, you know, here you can actually see the visual color change because it's definitely suddenly lighter than the rest, right? So it feels really more like a color change than when it's just one strand changing. But when it's like the last strand changing suddenly to the next color, it is somehow it feels much more visible. Ooh. Yeah, I am somehow a bit wrecked and exhausted, so I will probably yawn a few times today, so I do apologize in advance. A part of me feels like I should just go to sleep. Maybe I should. At least try to get on to bed on time. We watched yeah, how would they classify it? We watched a movie last night actually. It was also Netflix, but it does require you to be a little open for action thriller. And it was actually quite good. It's called Apex. And yeah, it was good. It was good and a bit scary. But if you're into action thriller, a bit dark minded and so on, I would say go have a watch. It was actually quite okay. I am generally not into scary movies in the sense of I didn't find it scary as such, but I did have a moment where, you know, she does climb mountains and stuff like that, and I can really feel that the way that they recorded or filmed some of those scenes, that really gave me this feeling in my stomach. Oh my jolly, oh, there's far down, and that gives you a less comfortable feeling. But the movie itself was great. I'm not really gonna tell too much about the movie because, you know, if you want to watch it, I would kind of just say it was a nice watch. We had a good watch, and it doesn't take too long. It's like 1 hour and 45 minutes. Rob says he was watching Warhammer 40k lore videos last night. Yeah, I was watching this action thriller thingy. And we did put the remarkably bright creatures on the list, which we might watch this weekend. We'll have to see what my partner decides on. He was the one that picked the movie yesterday evening. Looked at me, said, "Do you want to watch something together?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Challenges, of course. I don't right now have anything that I can work with on the couch. I don't have a couch project active. And, well, I could probably work this, but it's getting too big. But what I mean is also this movie. I definitely don't think I could have done a couch project at the same time as watching it, because that was it was a bit exciting in the sense of, yep, it's on my list. It is on my list, Susan. One, two. So maybe 2, 4, 6. Yeah, maybe we will see. Also, I have a feeling we need to weave in ends at some stage. But we will do that as it comes along. I totally forgot something, but yeah, well, it's too late now. I was also busy with work this week due to the various obvious reasons, as I was also covering for a colleague of mine. He's off on vacation. That reminds me, I could use a vacation. Please? Pretty please? Anyone? I'm ready. 2, 4, 6, 8. The challenge is all of my vacations, they are more like workcations. But that's all right. Semi used to that as well, I guess. Da, 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 da. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we are cracking well along here on the Heart Collectors with a new color. And it's looking brighter than ever before. Da, da, da. I need one more stitch. And for those curious, we calculated on this row there is 1188 stitches. I think that's madness. 1188 stitches. Like, think about it. Rev says, I do not have a lot of contacts on YouTube, but I do have a few Yarny friends, so I'm sharing your channel there. Might get you a few shops, but we'll do the same. We'll do the same on Blue Sky. Thank you. We always want more Yarny friends. Come and hang out. For sure. Come and hang out with us. So on the, what would that be? I think it's on the 14th. It's next month. 16th. Can't be on the 14th. Must be on the 16th. Now I'm in doubt. But I have to go to Amsterdam for work. 16th. 16th. It's a Tuesday. But yeah, because my Swedish colleague is quitting. She's ending her work term with us. And she, yeah, how can I say that best? 2, 4, 6, 7. So she's been studying in the Netherlands at the University of Amsterdam, and she's been working with us for like I think 3 years. And now she finished her education, or she finished her bachelor. Is it a master's? I think it's a master's actually in communication. And she's been working part-time with us in the same period, and now she finished, so now she's moving back home to Sweden. So we're gonna have a goodbye lunch with her in Amsterdam. So that is going to be nice, I think. And it seems like a good reason to go there. Yep. Chicka chicka ching. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, and we'll do 8 all the way down the tip. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a neat idea to go and have a goodbye lunch with your colleague. Can also then warmly congratulate her on passing her exams and finishing her education. Gosh, it's so many years ago since I did that. That is always a question. Do I feel lucky today? Maybe. May the odds ever be in your favor, as the Hunger Games may say. May the odds ever be in your favor. Drum roll. It is time to party, yachty. Maybe the odds are in my favor today. Who knows? But I'm still being flabbergasted here, being like 1188 stitches is a lot. So yeah, it's totally logic that I say that it takes forever to get around on a row. 1188 stitches. That is round 45, my friends. Two, 4, 6, 7. It feels like it is a little bit silent today. Maybe I'm not the only one being asleep. Feeling asleep. Or it's too early. Lisa hasn't even popped in yet. Maybe Lisa is busy taking care of breakfast for the kids before they go to school. Two, 4, 6, 8. And the lucky winner is Charlie. Charlie Erickson won a membership that Rev was very kind to a gift. And of course, with gifted memberships or just memberships in general, we have a little party. Thank you so very much. It is much appreciated. Every tiny little piece of support is greeted and thanked with open arms. And Charlie, if I do remember, you have been a member before. At least Charlie, I do know from the past as well. She's just not had so much time to be around lately. So it would be awesome if she finds some time again to pop in and say hello to us. 1, 2. 4, 6, 8. No, sorry about that. And yeah, let's not forget to hydrate, my friends. Not forget to hydrate. I can say we have creeped a little bit closer to the 2K subs since Wednesday. Not much, but just a little. It would likely benefit if I did more tutorials. So maybe that is what I need to look into once I'm done sorting my whole stash. 8. Start to design stuff. And also just generally make some tutorials. I do have a few things I'd like to review as well. So it's not like I'm completely out of ideas right now for content for you guys. Of course, we still have our lives as well also. Not to forget. Two, 4, 6. Cracking along. One, 2. Yep. So further than that, we don't really have any plans for the weekend. I'm gonna sleep some of the time, most definitely. And we do have to have a little cleaning of the house because next week we will be away, and then it's just nice to get home to. Well, we won't be away all of the week, but we will be away during the Pentecost, so Friday until on with Monday. And it's just nice to get home to a clean home. So we definitely need to take some time this weekend to clean it up a bit. We didn't do that last weekend, and yeah, need to look into which things I still need to get packed. And oh my goodness, there's a plenty of things to do still. The time ultimately fly. So 2, 4, 6, 8. You just keeping track. So far, I've not had to frog since a while, and I hope I generally don't need to frog. That would be really nice. I would be so sad if we would need to frog more. Let's not need to do that. Frogging is no fun. So I still keep counting a little bit here to ensure that frogging is less likely to happen. Um, to And we still have a few. My goodness, we're like halfway on these tips. And it feels like it takes forever. I guess it's because now there's so many stitches and this repeat is kinda, it feels more and more tedious because it gets to be more and more stitches. But let's remember, the progress is the means of something that would turn out extremely beautiful. And that is what I need to tell myself once in a while when I think things become tedious. I definitely also need to have a look, 2, 4, 6, 8, at some of my scrap yarns. Some of my cotton scraps. I have some ideas, especially for the cottons. Like, it could be amazing if I could make a few more octopuses. I think they were gorgeous. But more importantly, I need to look through, because I do think 2, 4, 6, 8. I do really think I need to look into popping out maybe bucket hats or something. 2, 4, 6. And that reminds me, I have an idea now. That shawl is coming out very pretty. It is. It is. But I have to say the design is also pretty amazing. And it was originally also a crochet along shawl, apparently. 4, 6, 8. But yeah, and that's definitely a crochet along I could have seen me doing. But I haven't in such a long time. Oh. Actually, I don't really generally do crochet alongs because often time-wise, either when they are, it's fitting really poorly into my time. Generally speaking, but not always. Because it's also a little bit picking what would you want to do, in the sense that, is it a project that may speak to you or not? Look, don't have that many tips left. But still, you can see how we are sort of moving around the shawl to get there. We have ends that we could go ahead lightly and weave in, because it looks like we didn't have any mistakes. So I may just do that when we pass them. Because then that's done. Do a little bit on the go. Or alternatively, I'll just let them hang in there and I'll weave them in later. But you know, weaving in sometimes is also a nice break for this. So 8, we'll flip it. Rev says he likes the way that Jean does the crochet alongs, as there's not a lot of pressure to keep up, as it were. He puts out the videos fairly quickly, so unless you are very skilled and fast crochet, you will fall behind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I guess it also depends on what other projects you have, and do you have any other priorities for whatever reasons and so on, right? Let's not forget that option. Two, 4, 6, 8. But I think generally it's nice if there isn't necessarily a pressure to keep up or you have to be done by X deadline. Also like to know what I'm jumping into instead of the mystery ones. Susan is going out. She will be back soon. Well, I will see you later, Susan. Take care until then. I set the color side to work on those wet blankets, so I'm 2 videos behind now. So you gotta go catch up. Well, you'll do that quick enough. I know how quickly you spew out these blankets, which is crazy. I mean, I am not gonna replicate the pace of that by any means. It takes all the pressure off. I'm on the island time on this cal now. It gets there when it gets there, yeah. There is definitely some aspects I like to this, like, you know, living away from busy cities. That gives a little bit more, like, you know, it get done when it gets done feeling. Um I guess as long as you're comfortable with that as well yourself. But a chill approach, I think, gives us all a lot less stress, generally speaking. And who doesn't like that? Da, 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 da. Mhm. I feel that we are gonna weave in ends. It's also been like almost an hour now. Not completely, 50 minutes. We still have a few tips to go until we get to the pointy point. But I mean, these ends are 3 rows behind, and I didn't need to frock the row just below. So we should be fine to weave them in. So I feel I need to weave them in. It's also a little bit to prevent not having a ton of ends to weave in to the very end. That would be anything but good for me. That would be really disheartening, just only having to weave in ends. I think it's good to spread it out, getting ends woven in. But because of this being, how can I say that best? You know, it's intricate and there are possibilities of mistakes. Also knot, which I may not get through the needle eye. That just, you know, I want to ensure I don't make mistakes before I weave in my ends, because I know myself. If I need to undo something woven in, I can't find the ends. Like, I've done it multiple times when I've like chosen to weave in my ends earlier, and then I've been like looking at the ends and I've been like, where are you? So it's basically for me impossible to frock something I've woven in. I guess that's a good thing, because it means that the ends doesn't come undone. Rev says he was also weaving in my ends as I went on those blankets. So when I finished off a blanket, I only had 1 to 2 ends and it was done. Yeah, you know, get them a little bit as you go, because I think having to weave a lot of ends in at the very end is disheartening for most of us, honestly. Because when you know you have no more crocheting to do, then it's just that feeling that now it also just kind of have to be done. But then you encounter the hundreds of ends you need to weave in. Then therefore it is much better to some extent to do that as we go. Abso-freaking-lutely. Nothing worse than finishing a project only to realize you're not done and you still have an hour or 2 of ends to weave in. Exactly, that's my point. When you're done with the crocheting bit, we just wanna be done. We just wanna be, hey, we did it! And party, right? We don't wanna be, hey, wait, ends. Like, weaving in ends is boring. But we are doing it because we have to. But I'm not exactly going to say that I enjoy weaving in ends. That said, I could definitely have something far more tedious in life. Nightbot is making a bunch of diverse advertisements right now. Nightbot is basically just reminding you all what is possible. That was one end. We have 2. I need to do the other one. I may have left quite a bit of yarn here to actually get this done, but I'd rather have enough than not. Mm-mm-mm. And then good morning, Lisa. We were actually missing you a bit earlier today. We were talking about you being like, wonder where Lisa is. And then I was like, maybe you're fixing breakfast for the kids before school or whatever. But glad to see you. Glad to see you. I hope you had a couple of good days. Was yesterday also a bank holiday in Canada? And yes, hit the thummies. Hit the thummies. Do not forget to like, hype, and subscribe. So, meanwhile that you haven't been here, Lisa, we have just been working on the Heart Collectors Shawl, and I calculated that here on row 45, I have 1188 stitches. And I'm not expecting to finish this row today, even though I had already sort of started a bit on it before I started this live. But I mean, 1188 stitches is crazy. Wasn't a bank holiday, but my son's school had a day off. Oh, okay. Could have been that. Monday's bank holiday here. This coming Monday or Monday the following week? Because Monday the following week is a bank holiday here as well. So we have Ascension Day, which was yesterday. And we have so Pentecost Monday as well. This coming Monday. Okay. This coming Monday, I just have work. I will, though, be live. Because it's just another Monday. And this Monday is one of the Mondays where I will be with you guys. And we will have fun crafting and whatnot. Two more ends woven in. Hallelujah. We like that. Two more ends woven in. That is two ends less in the end. As I said also to those, I changed the color. I did reach the color change just before I stopped working on this yesterday. I did work a bit on it yesterday, so I did progress a bit outside the stream. Honestly, if we only work on this during the stream, it will never be finished. But we had the color change, so now we are working with the coral and the flamingo color. And I did that just about then before the previous row. Now we will continue cracking on until the tip. This coming Monday is Victoria Day. Oh, it's like back from the times of Queen Victoria or something. It's when the Holy Spirit came to the disciples. Yeah. Well, Pentecost is obviously also church related. And I am not that religious that I can explain exactly what without Googling it. But it could very well be right because Ascension Day. So Easter is when he get crucified, and Ascension Day is when he rises from the dead. And the spirit obviously has to go somewhere, so that's likely Pentecost. That would make sense. And then we can go back to the discussion we had a couple of weeks ago, I think, or was it a month ago? We at some stage we did discuss some religious stuff here, and it's not that, you know, I respect everything. I respect any religion. Um, you know, just because one is a Muslim does not mean that you are a terrorist, because the Quran actually does not stipulate that you should act in actions of war. It is actually quite peaceful. It is then misunderstanding of the interpretation of the scripts. The same go for the Bible, but at the same time, I am very much puzzled because Jesus was born on the same day every year, right? He was born on the 24th in the night or 25th in the morning, whatever you want to call it. He was always born then. We celebrate it yearly. We call it Christmas. But he did not die on the same day every year, and that bothers me. That bothers me. He did not die on the same day. Because Easter does not fall on the same day every year. It depends on the moon. Right? And that bothers me a bit. You know, when I pass, my tombstone won't one year say I passed on the whatever date, and the next year I pass on another date. That's a mess, right? Like, that's very weird. It just doesn't work in my optics. Um, the Old Testament doesn't really summarize things either, because um, Adam and Eve had two sons, right? So they got to the Garden of Eden, and they had two sons, Cain and Abel, and they went out in the world to marry. But if Adam and Eve were the first two people on earth, and they didn't get any daughters, who would they marry? Apes? You know, there's, but it's a lovely story, generally speaking. And I guess it's not so much the logic of the story, but it's more the essence of the stories we need to think of. Also, Cain also killed Abel. And then he went out into the world to marry. But, you know, he couldn't have married his brother because that's not okay. Neither could he have married his mother or his father because he went out to the world to marry. But Adam and Eve were the only people on earth in the very beginning because they were the first two ones. So, I don't know. I knew it was related to resurrection, but I could not remember which bit. Religion has zealots and fanatical stuff, definitely. I'm not religious, but we've had a lot of good friends that were two of the best people I know. One was Catholic and one was Muslim. So technically speaking, my partner is a Catholic. I am a Protestant, technically speaking. And my sister and her husband, they are Mormons. And that is very technically speaking, because they definitely still say their prayers before dinner, 2, 4, 6, 8. Though, if I were to visit my sister and her husband, and we would go there for dinner, we would also sit and participate in the prayers before taking the food blessing. But if they would visit us and we would have the dinner here, we would not necessarily bless the food, and they accept that and they are fine with it. So they do it in their own way before we go to dinner, so to say. So that it is quite open and sharing. It has to do with the Jewish calendar. Yeah, I'm not surprised, but still, it makes no sense. Easter was a pre-existing festival the early church found easier to slap a thin layer of Jesus over the pagan rites. Probably, and I guess such a similar as to um, Christmas was also slapped on top on the pagan rites, and because I do believe, let's not forget, it's Christmas is 2 or 3 days after midwinter. And that's when it changes and starts getting brighter. So it's a great time to celebrate because it starts getting lighter again, at least in the northern hemisphere. It actually says in the Old Testament that after they left the garden, they had more children. It just doesn't name them. Oh, I did not remember that. I would have to need to look at that. But still, it would be rather incestuous if you married your sister or brother. At the same time, the Targaryens in the Game of Thrones did definitely not care about that part. 2, 4, 6. Yeah. It was normally raised Baptist, but will classify myself as an atheist now. But I am kind of over all the divisions. I would call myself not an atheist, because atheist is very, very clear, and we do not believe in anything. I would call myself more an agnostic, which is I do believe there is something, but I cannot define what it is. Agnostic are also a lot more accepting towards other cultures and religions. And then we can go back to people not liking other people's cultures and religions. And a lot of the times it is because people do not understand because it is strange to them. And if one takes the time to sit down and understand certain things, it would be a lot less terrifying. 2, 4, 6, 8. Lisa says, I'm technically non-denominational, but my church is quite Baptist-leaning. Well, I am Protestant. Should I start a Baptist? I don't think so. I think it's just called a Protestant also in English. Maybe, or maybe it's baptism. No. Protestant. Yeah. That is what we are. And it gets translated as a member of the part of the Christian church that differed from the Roman Catholic Church during the Reformation. Ta-ta. Protestantism is a form of Christianity that emphasizes justification of sinners through faith alone, teaching that salvation comes by unmerited divine grace, the priesthood of all believers, and in the Bible as a sole, infallible source of authority for Christian faith and practice. It is the 5 sola summarizes the basic theoretical beliefs of the mainstream Protestantism. I learned something today. I didn't know that they diverted from the Roman Catholic Church. That I did know. And it is then, while it's Protestant, it is also the Lutheran Protestant way, so to say. That said, last time I was in a church, it's very recent. It was during the funeral of my auntie, so that's a month ago. The last time I was in church before then was for a baptizing of my cousin's son, I think, which is, I don't know when, but a couple of years ago at least. I only go to the church when I get invited to an event in the church. Yeah, pretty much. I do that say love church buildings. I love entering churches. I love watching the structures of them. I love the architecture of churches. Like buildings fascinate me. Yeah, and I just can't get around that. And I think it's just because I'm like, how was it possible to 500 years ago build this? They did not have the same tools as we have today. When we were in Mexico, we do most of our work with Pentecostal churches. But yeah, Protestant has a bunch of denominations. Yeah, we are then Lutheran, because that's a classic Danish denomination of it. YouTube did not like my balanced take. There, deleted the comment. Oh, YouTube didn't like it? Wow. I think it's also a little bit, it is an iffy topic right now. And yeah, generally, my mom was kind to tell me it's 9 years ago that I last time were in a church. Good, thank you. Next to the funeral. Thank you, Mom. As I said, I'd only come when I'm invited. Oh my goodness, is he that old already? Well, he must be. 9 years. Wow. Good and bad in all things. Protestant beliefs are very simply explained that Jesus Christ was fully God and fully man, lived a perfect sinless life, and died for our sins, and raised back to life after 3 days. Yeah, roughly saying 2, 4, 6, 8. And the Catholics are more the belief of the Maria, his mother, because I guess she got pregnant without having sinned. It's crazy. It's a story. I think what we need to take from religion is this thought and the way of lives as, not to be violent, not to steal, not to war, not to, yeah, these general things like be kind to the person next to you and stuff like that. And I think that is what we need to bring along from it, because it helps us all if we are all just a little bit kinder. What would happen if you were just a little bit kinder to the person next to you? I think we all could use that. Let's all be just a little bit kinder. 2, 4, 6, 8. So I suggest that today we all should take a goal and be just a little bit kinder to the person next to us today than we normally would be. Wouldn't that be nice? Just a little bit kinder. I like that idea. 1, 2. I think we could all learn something from that. And hopefully, if we are a little bit kinder to those next to us, they will also be a little kinder to us, especially when we need it. We are very involved in our church. My husband is an elder on the board. Okay. I kind of prefer the Latin Mass if I had to pick a service to sit through. Not that I want to. Latin sounds cool. Yeah. There is some really nice Latin words for sure. We did have some Latin in. I had shortly a bit of Latin in high school. Not much of it, but a little of it. Rev says, I mean, just be cool to other people. Don't start things, but stand up for people that need it. Exactly, that's my point. But then if you stand up for people that need it, it's your way of being a bit kinder to them, right? Lisa says, agree, Stina. Kindness seems to be a rare occurrence, even seen as a weakness lately. I don't think it's a weakness. I think it's a strength, personally speaking. We all need to be a bit kinder, and if we aren't kinder, the rest of the world won't be kinder either. So I think we can all help the world, even if it's just close proximity around ourselves. If we are a bit kinder, others will be too. And it's the same like when you stand in the supermarket and you forgot to purchase just, I don't know, let's say a liter of milk or something. You just forgot one item. And you went to the supermarket to pick up that item, and you're now in the queue. And there's a bunch of carts in front of you that are loaded to the brim. And you're just being like, oh my goodness, I have to stand here and wait. You know, if I'm there with a full cart and a person comes up behind me and they have one or two, maybe three things, and I haven't started loading the belt yet, or the band or the belt yet with all my items, with my groceries, I always say, hey, come along and pass. Because I hope that if I do that, the day when I stand there with just two items, somebody will let me pass. And it's happened. Like, it has actually happened that I was once let by a person who stood with the big wagon, and it's like a bit of paid forward thing, right? Like, if I'm kind to others, eventually the world will be kind to me. It was quite a while ago, but I held the door open for an elderly lady. She nearly cried as she said she couldn't remember last time someone did that for her. Oh my, that's sad. That is really sad. I will tell you guys a story about a year and a half ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago this summer, because I was still having my old job. So it has to be roughly 2 years ago. And it was in the summer. I was in the supermarket as well, and there was an elderly woman asking me about something in the store, and I think she was looking for a specific sale, and she was a little bit confused, and I kind of helped her. And then a bit later during that day, I met her again at the end of the cashiers. So she had to pay for her groceries, and she was packing them in her bags. And she was standing there asking if the store somehow could help her home with her groceries, because she was on foot and she had bought a bit too many groceries to be able to carry on her own. And she's probably been close to 80, right? She was definitely in her 70s. She was poorly walking, probably in her 80s. And the store being like, yeah, no, can't, not my problem, like, kind of thing, or at least the cashier behind. And then she looked at me with like really, really sad eyes, being like, like, she had all these groceries. And she looked at me and said, can you maybe help me home? So I looked at her and I said, it depends on where you live, because I'm not in the mood to drive 20 kilometers a round trip to bring her home. I don't know where you live. And so she told me where she lived, and I was like, okay, it's 5 minutes from here, not even 5 in a car. So I got her groceries into the back of the car and I drove her home. And she was so happy and humbled, and she actually wanted to pay me for doing so. And I was doing my best to refuse her money, because I felt that felt really weird, because I kind of just, said, sure, I can. But still, she felt best if she were to pay me. So I think she ended up giving me, I don't know. And then I said to her, well, €5 would be fine. It covers the gasoline, something like that, right? Because that's an easy one. And, she felt better being allowed to do that. She even offered me to come in for a drink. And I said, normally I would say thank you, but I have things in the car that's melting. I need to get it home to my freezer. I had some ice creams. But I did drive her home because obviously nobody else seemed willing to help her. And she told me in the car she was so happy that I was doing this for her because normally she was able to get this amount of groceries home on her own. But since she had a fall on her bike a couple of months ago, her son has forbid her to ride the bike, basically. He was afraid of her getting hurt. So she was walking instead to do her groceries. But yeah, that is a little other paid forward story that I have. Um, so sometimes small things makes a big difference for people. I did also help her into the home with all her groceries because kind as I am. I slowly start seeing the new color on this cake, but I don't know if we will actually technically reach to switch it while working here today. I have a feeling these are also just being singulas, but I better check the pattern to be sure. Yeah, because this is... I said 45, didn't I? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Yeah, it's 12. It's 45. And it's ones and ones. Okay. Because, my friends, it's the tip of the shawl. That means that we are like halfway through this row. Then we only have 500 and some odd stitches to go. It's almost 600. Woohoo! 594 stitches after getting to the tip. Walkity, walkity, walkity. I'm meaning, I think it's crazy the amount of stitches there's now in the row. And the next row is gonna be another increase, I'm sure. Which means that it's gonna be a lot more stitches. We're passing 1200 stitches then. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Meanwhile, Lisa says, thank goodness for toothy yarn. Apparently I dropped a stitch in this sock last night. Well, I hope you can easily fix it. Normally, drop knitted stitches is an easier fix than stuff for crochet. It's fixed. Great. I think my mom, by the way, right now also, she's still embroidering. She haven't told me she's finished the project yet. Maybe she did, but I guess she will still be embroidering on the birth photo of my newest addition to on the newest addition to our family, which is a son born by my cousin. So it's like, yeah, I would call it a nephew, but it's wrong to call it a nephew. um, But it's still going to be like almost 2 months. Well, it's still 2 months until I get home, so plenty of time. Still 2 months until I travel to Denmark for the summer. Also need to look at plans for the autumn again when we get there, but that is not the high priority right now. But of course, the quicker I plan, maybe the better flight tickets I can get. 6, 8, 10, 11, maybe 12. Yeah, that should probably fit. Hella says it's not been finished yet, but it's needed on the 13th of June. That is when the baptism will take place. So that means that part of my family gets to go to the church again. Lisa says I was told that when we're going to Mexico in August for the wedding, we have to be tour group leaders. Oh, goodness. I just hope it's good weather in the end of July when we go home, because some of the activities that we are going to undertake are outside. So that would be really nice if it's dry at least. I don't mind if it's not necessarily sunny, as long as it's not raining. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Should be on both sides. I mean, it's no fun doing outdoor activities when it's wet. Unless it's very warm that the wet is cooling you. But still, I don't expect that to happen. Not anytime soon in Denmark. The groom's family has never been outside of Canada and watched far too much news about cartels in Mexico. Right, because everybody in Mexico are mafiosos. I get that. Right. Totally logic. I'm being like, right. Nope. Probably not, but sure. Last year during our event that I am co-hosting here next weekend, we actually had like a group of Mexicans there competing. And they were all pretty nice and did pretty well. And I did definitely not have the feeling that any of them were some sort of cartel group. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But it could be that they have a higher tendency of corruption compared to more Western countries. But I don't necessarily think that the old mafias are connected to cartels in any means or form. And all cartel wants to do is to kill tourists. Why would they do that if the tourists spend money in Mexico and that helps Mexico in general, right? Like that makes no sense. Well, I have to say these days I have the idea that my phone knows that I am genuinely in the mood for a vacation, because it's also like popping to me and say, right now, you can fly to Toronto, turn return for €595, which I'm like, that's cheap. It just doesn't give me the rest of the vacation there. But I mean, that's cheap. That's pretty cheap. Oh my goodness. I am though imagining us doing some sort of a city trip, maybe in end August, begin September, just to get out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But it could also be that we will stay at home because, as I said to my partner, there is something we have forgotten. In 2027, we need 5 extra vacation days. So we need to find them somewhere. Because we will be heading off to an event that we will help with, organization in Monaco next year, and that's going to be like a week in Monaco. With stay and hotel and travel and all paid, but we still need the days off work, right? Because hey, I hope that I'm still having a job next year in May. That would be really nice if I did. There are some dangerous areas of Mexico, but it's mostly in the west and outside of cities. If you're going to Mexico City, you will be fine. I guess generally it's just about being considerate. Don't do stupid. Well, that depends on which area of Mexico City, probably, as well. But then we are back to don't do stupid. Or do your research in advance. Don't believe everything you hear. There definitely are no-go areas in every city, though. Yeah, I think that doesn't matter where you are. When the city reaches a certain size, there are just areas where you can better stay out of. Two, 4, 6, 8. Can we actually see? Yeah, we can. I'm going to share, you guys. Look. The next color is coming forward. But when we have finished this one, we need to change cake. The cakes are, as we figured out last time, so small now that they can actually stay 2 in one box, which is really nice for me. But we are getting to the point where it's going to be half coral and half flamingo, colorway wise, here of these. With all these solid colors, I'm wondering at some extent if I maybe should consider doing something nice with that. But not right now. Because I definitely do not have the time for it. 2, 4, 6. We are going to finish up this shawl first before I start on anything crazy. Without promising too much. I want to finish up this first before I start anything else big, at least. I maybe have skewed take as I have lived in Baltimore. Baltimore is a rough city. Lisa says, spent a fair amount of time in Mexico City. There is beautiful areas and there is absolute slums. I think, as I said, it goes for every big city. There are just some areas where you better can stay out of. Especially, so when I lived in Denmark after I'd moved from my parents, I lived straight next door to the ghetto, 2468. And over day it was fine. In the evening, though, there were certain areas I would not walk. The main roads would be fine, but taking the small pass-throughs some places, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't feel safe. Yeah. And I mean, it's a city of what? Not even 500,000. So the population of the greater Mexico City is the same as the entire country of Canada. That's insane when you put that into the optics, right? That's insane. It's like, technically speaking, Copenhagen is larger than Amsterdam, while the Netherlands has 3 times the amount of people living in the country. Um, do, do, do. Mhm. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. Think about it. It's Friday. It feels low, like as if it was Monday because I wasn't working yesterday. But it is Friday. And then it's weekend. Two, four, six, eight. And one more thing. We are halfway through May. Isn't that scary? I swear to you, I feel we just switched into May like a week ago. But clearly, it's been 2. And look at the size of this piece. It is growing. And I need to kind of trifle it around a bit to easier work on it. I think this was better. Who knows? This pace, maybe we will reach to change cake today. So yesterday we were at a competition, and I was actually competing. I did, for my current level, reasonable, like not amazing, but reasonable. And when we were in the car on the way home, and we were driving with one of our juniors and her dad. I was me and my partner as well in the back of the car, and then he says to his daughter, and said, "Hey, you wanted to ask a question, remember?" And she was like, "Yeah, yeah." And she turned around and she looked at me and she said, "Stina, I have to do a project for school where I have to make a description, and I also need to interview a person related to the topic, and I have chosen shooting. So, can I interview you?" And I was a bit like, "Of course, girl. Like, if you want to do this, sure, you can interview me. Like, let me know." Um, I just, if that makes her happy, of course I want to do that. I'm very easy on that point. So that's kind of cute. I don't know when that's going to happen, but sometime within the next month, because its deadline is sometime in June. My husband bought me 2 raised gardens. They're supposed to be delivered tomorrow. I want to set them up on the weekend, but the weather is supposed to be rainy. Oh, raised beds are awesome. Like, I think if I were ever to get like a real hobby garden again, like with stuff in, I would definitely be a fan of raised beds too. Like, less bendy work, right? That would be a yes, please for me. Um, so I am jealous actually. I just don't have the time to do garden stuff. But who knows? Maybe when I get an old woman, and I don't work and don't travel and all that stuff, then I will have a bunch of raised beds in my garden. My garden isn't that big, so probably not happening in any case. 2, 4, 6, 8. Unless we were to move before then. But we are kind of back in we can't afford to move, because the thing is, while the house value has increased, so has other house values. So, it's not just that our house got worth more money. And on that note, another house here in the street is put up for sale. And I am starting to suspect that ours will get even more worth. I did, though, say for funsies to my partner, we should have bought the house like just across the street. So our neighbors, as I told you a couple of weeks ago, which has now sold, had put the house up for sale. And I said, because let's assume we had the money and we would have done that. That would have been amazing, because then we don't need to renovate this home, because that home is like brand newly renovated inside. This one needs, at some stage within the next 10 years, definitely new toilets and a new kitchen, maybe new flooring. But yeah, I mean, that's also expensive. Isn't it just easier to sell and then buy something that's done? Though the hassle of moving, but I mean, we kind of have to empty the whole living room to get all half of this done in any case. So yeah. The first half of May always goes quick. The wife's birthday is the 5th, and my stepdaughter's birthday is the 15th, which is today, mate. Congratulations with your stepdaughter's birthday. We already celebrated with her Monday, as she was busy today. She's complaining about getting old. The child is 25. Well, I get the feeling, but you will hear her complain. I think I can really feel a difference. Like, I think when you're in your 20s, you're really afraid of the 30s. But honestly, I feel much older now, like body-wise, than I did when I entered my 30s. And I'm in my 40s now, right? So hey, which sounds really old, and I don't feel like one. Like energy-wise and body-wise, I probably do, but mental-wise, I'm still 30. So May's busy for us too. 3rd is both Mill and hubby's birthday. 5th is my dad. 18th is mine, plus some extended family birthdays too. I'm mid-40s and I'm the youngest I've been in decades. Ah, sweet. So my next birthday, you say, Lisa, will give me the same feeling. It's in 8 months. That would be awesome if, like, when I get to my mid-40s, I'm in my early 40s, but like if I get to my mid-40s, if that will give me the feeling of being the youngest in decades, I'm in. Um, I guess right now I am slightly little bit more focused on I'd really like to make the effort on seeing if I can lose some weight, and I'm sure a few kilos less will definitely make me feeling a bit more fit as well. So, and it's not like I look that big, but I can still feel in some things that I am definitely not as lenient and flexible and able as I was 6 years ago, even. And I'm quite sure some of that is also weight related. I had some of my health issues that I've made my late 30s to mid 40s a bit rough. Outside of that, I do not feel any older most of the time. One of the reasons I am retired early is those health issues. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, I have some health issues too, but I can't retire because I'm quite sure the government says that I'm too healthy to retire. So they won't like give me any, I don't think. And it's not needed because the work I have right now is a job I can physically do. So I don't think there is a need for it. Um, that said, every time I open my pension fund and I look at it and it says that I first will retire in almost 28 years, I would like to make that sooner. So I would subconsciously like to have a goal of just ensuring that I can retire sooner than the government decision, if that makes sense. But that's still putting me at least probably like a 20 years in the workforce. But some of the challenges I have is also can be the reason. So I'm wondering if it's related to sleep, or if it's or if it is my autoimmune. So I have an autoimmune disease, and that sometimes also causes me to have a lot less energy, and that could be it. That could be the reason why I'm these days a bit more tired. But I am going to see if I can convince myself to try in general to go a little bit earlier to bed, and see if the ability to sleep more could help a bit. 2, 4, 6, 7, because I could sleep more when I wake up in the morning, but you know, it's the getting to bed on time in the evening that's sometimes the challenge. So I don't know if that's the reason. And I could definitely easily sleep half an hour more. So I'm trying to consider myself to convince myself to say I need to try to head half an hour earlier to bed, and see if that would make a difference. That is my goal for June. 2, 4, 6. Lisa says a mindset. I've been through a dumpster fire of medical stuff in the last 2 decades, and I'm finally coming out on the other side. So I'm grateful to be alive and not feeling like garbage. I understand. Medical issues seems to be common in the fiber arts community. I was on the couch pretty much all day yesterday, and I had raging barometric migraine. The air pressure plummeted here. Oh, I'm sorry. Rose says, this is what it is, and I'm lucky to be in a position to be able to do this. Yes, that is when you need to count your blessings, right? We need sometimes to be happy for the abilities we have. I also know people who's been able to retire early. And, you know, I think that's wonderful for them that they are able to do so. And there are different systems as to how to retire early. The latest I've been looking into is doing an extra pension fund. I guess it's a bit similar to the Americans Roth IRA stuff. It is like I can get some tax deductions, but you'll then have to sort of pay tax later when you get it paid out, which is often less than what you do now. But regardless, for me, what's also interesting is the fact that because in the Netherlands you have what's called a wealth tax. If you have a certain amount of wealth, they will start look at it as taxable wealth, because if you have a certain wealth, they expect you to put this wealth into use and to generate more wealth. So basically, just putting it on your savings account and let it save and save and save will eventually lose you money. There is a tax-free amount before you hit this tax threshold, but oh my goodness, that's noisy. But the threshold, you know, once passed, it's not fun. And the pension that you have put out for later does not count towards this wealth, because it is like postponed for later kind of thing. So I'm thinking I should do that, because right now I have the ability to do it, if that makes sense. I do have the surplus to do it. So that will be next to the pension scheme that my boss is already paying to. That's just like a standard extra thing, which they also do really nicely. We have that here too. We call them RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Yeah, something like that, right? I think every country has something where you can get some tax benefits by saving up for retirement. And I think it's a good idea to do that because reality is just that. So in the Netherlands, you also get like a basic pension paid from the government, but that is peanuts, right? It's like, what will you have paid out? A bit more than 1,000, maybe 1,100 euros or something a month if you're lucky. I mean, don't expect to survive on it and do a bunch of stuff, right? So you need to have something on the side. I even have one of those pension ones in Denmark. But what's the value on it? I don't know, 500 euros. It was before I moved. Now, because now obviously it doesn't give me tax benefits to deposit there, so it makes no sense. But 2, 4, 6, 8. But back when I lived there, it did. And they may pay it out when I turn, I think, 60 maybe. Yep, Canada also pays a basic pension, Lisa says, but it's not a livable amount either. I think it's like 800 Canadian. Yeah, that's not much. So it's somewhat similar to the Dutch, I guess. Rev says, I'm so used to working with the big twist now that this Karen 1 pound feels super thick. Wow, you were saying a yarn feels thick? Are you okay? Like, that's kind of how I feel when I do plushie yarns, right? I'm like, holy smokes, plushies? Feels thick. I know there was this plushie I wanted to make for Halloween. Or maybe I should do that this summer. That's a nice project. It's like a bat. I got the pattern on Hobby back when Hobby Plus was a thing. So I had a Hobby Plus subscription and I couldn't get a bunch of free patterns every month. And I got it back then. But I haven't made it yet. It's just been I need to make. So that could be fun. Let's see if I could go find it. But that's like, I just want to have that done before Halloween, if anything. Because, you know, it's a bat. It seems Halloween friendly. I just need to find it. Ooh. I apologize. Oh, I need to do this and this and this too. Oh my goodness, there's so many things I need to do. I need to do that too. Is it so long ago? Here. Binks the bat. Yeah. Let me pop over for you guys. Pattern is apparently €4. This one. Let's pop it up. Isn't that cute? Cutesy. So this one I want to make for Halloween. like this one where it's hanged up on the crochet hook. That's gorge. I was feeling the same way when I went from sock yarn to Karen anniversary cake. Oh yeah, wow. For comparison, big twist is a thin 4, just slightly thicker than a DK Karen. 1 pound iron is just short of a 5. Okay. Lisa made a massive jump. Yeah. Welcome back. Susan asked who made the bat. I didn't make the bat yet. I want to make it. I bought the pattern 2 years ago, I think. And I want to make it for Halloween with some of the plushy yarns I have. That was my thoughts. So it's like my Halloween project. I want to have that done for Halloween. And Susan, we have talked a bit about the fact that I am moving, inching closer and closer to a new color here. But it is meaning just me to change cake, but still. So not in that accent talked about much, but I just like shared the back because I'm like, I'm talking about thicker yarns, and I was like, that's like me when I go to the chenille yarns. I don't do chenille often, but you know, that made me think of, I'd like to make that bat. I think 2 years ago I did the ghost because that wasn't last summer. Last summer I didn't do any Halloween stuff at all because of the simplicity. I was traveling a lot and very concerned about my mom's health. This year I do travel a bit less, but I still want to go more often in the sense of compared to, and that's also partially my mom feels better, so that's a nice thing. But I still want to go more often when able compared to what I've done the last many years. So I do need to schedule a travel sometime in the autumn and probably early winter, depending on when and how and what. So to say, from between August and December, I want to travel twice. So once every quarter is the kind of pre-planning. Yeah, welcome back, Susan. There was a lots of granny squares in Ollie's and some big stripe. I didn't buy any. Ooh, good girl for not buying any. I'm trying to be inspired by yarns. One, two. I've been both dillying and dallying. It seems 2 hours, and I've done 1 round of front post double crochets. Shameful. I guess depends on how many stitches you have, right? I haven't even finished my round yet. I mean, there's 1188 stitches, and I had even started it before we started the stream because I worked a little bit on it last night. Not much, granted. But I mean, it's almost 1200 stitches, and I don't even manage that in 3 hours. Should I feel ashamed? I don't know. I don't even know how many stitches I'm supposed to be able to do in an hour. I don't think about it. I just do. I touched granny square yarn last time I was at Walmart. I had to take an allergy pill when we got back to the truck. I don't know what they treat that yarn with, but it makes my skin very angry. Oh my. That's insane. Then Ruff has indeed been dilly-dallying. It's just been multitasking and hanging out. Being like, hey, come and visit Stina's stream. She's an awesome woman. Thank you. Trying to get us more yarny friends. I do have a black, and I also have, like when we're talking about the bat, I do have black and I also have another color. So depending on how that works up, you know, let's pop back over to the batty bat. And I also have like colored eyes, so that's gonna be fine. I want to make it black, but I want to do it a bit like here with the gray that has a different color here on the inside wings. Depending on how that's done, I should be able to do that, I think. Because I do believe, I don't think it's like pink on the other side. I think it's also gray. I'll have to check pattern, but I want to make it like a different color on the inside, but all what's gray here, I would like to make black because I think it's looking really good in black. And I do have black, and I also have a different color to do the inside lining of. I just don't remember if I have a purple or in that colors. We'll have to find out. And I am going to go through that stash at some stage as well. Hallelujah. I do have a box which is only chenille yarns. And I also at some stage want to get started on, you know, I don't know how many of you have followed me for a long time, but 2 years ago approximately, well, Christmas 2 years ago, time flies, so it's almost 2.5 years ago, I made unicorns for my cousin's daughters. I made 2 of them, 2, 4, 6, 7. And I wanted to make one for myself, but I wanted the mane to be more like, what is it called? Rainbow colored, maybe pastel rainbows or something. But I haven't gotten around it yet, as in gotten around doing it yet. So that's also a project for at some stage to do. And I had some stage also an idea of doing bunnies too, like, you know, rabbits for Easter. But it was so easy to get ideas, and you all know it, right? We can all quickly find out what we want to make, but we can't make it as quickly as we want to make it. So that chenille yarn, it's been in my stash for the past, I think, 2 or 3 years at least. Lisa says, I can't use the other Red Heart yarns, just not any of the Super Savers. There must be something in what they use to wash it or treat it with then. Rev says, I've decided to go with bright red for my cables. I hope this looks good as I do not want to have to do this more than once. Yeah, well, I hope there is no need of frocking either. Lisa says, I remember the unicorns. They were adorable. They were. And I was like finishing them on the same day that they had to be packed in and given as away as presents. And, you know, even my mom stepped up and helped me. I don't think I would have made it without her. And the fun thing is I'd planned it already in August, but I kind of sort of the make of them kept being semi-postponed. So, yeah. When I finally got a move on it, it was kind of on the late end. But we did manage to finish it up. So there is a good thing. But, I mean, we could have done that better. Oh, I did 2. I should only have done 1. We could definitely have done, I could definitely have done that better or planned better. That's my own fault. But yeah, this year I have no presents to craft for Christmas. At least not from what I know. When I'm done with my Christmas makes, I might try to make myself an emotional support chicken from scrap sock yarns. That could be a good idea. We always need support chickens. Oh, these days my Facebook feed keeps popping up with chickens, like people who has chickens in their garden. I'm like, I want chickens too, but I'm just not. I travel too much. It's not practical by any means. But you know, having a garbage machine that you can feed your kitchen scraps and they provide you with eggs in return and they eat the extra insects and stuff like that in your garden. What's not to like? But yeah, I definitely wouldn't have room for it here. And I have no intentions of moving either. Oh, yeah, Lisa said I have space and I even have a shed for chickens, but as I said before, I'm allergic to that dander. Oh, that's horrible. I just see these photos of the chickens and they're like, oh my goodness, they're cute. And hens and roosters and all that stuff. And I'm like, I want to. Um, gives me that exact same feeling, right? Like, oh, but I generally shouldn't. I think you're the first person I've met who is allergic to chicken dander, though. But I do understand. You probably then also would have issues with parrot dander and stuff like that because I believe their dander is related to when they grow new feathers. This the things that protects the feather until like they get completely out and they preen it and that kind of gets like fluffy dander alike, which is kind of like our nail. But I mean, that's sad. You'd have the perfect space for them. Oop, lost my hook. Mm. Lisa said, don't know. I haven't been around parrots for a long time. Okay. I'm just wondering if it's like a general thing, you know, with the birds preening feathers, because chickens kind of have the same. But it could be, yeah. I think it's worth keeping in mind should you come in a situation like that. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, it's my stitch count matches so far. Isn't that awesome? It is. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? Can we reach that in 40 minutes? We might actually be able to do that. Look, this is how much we have left. Woohoo! I'm starting to be slightly ever so optimistic. As well as, look here. I need to look what I'm doing. But I mean, I think it only like this piece left. Goes down here. Comes back up there. I mean, the rest are the new color, so we may, before end of this row, have a color change. Which means that we have a cake change. And I think that's possible, like in the time available. So, we didn't have discussed one topic today. What is up for dinner? Here we are going to have a creamy mushroom soup combined with some sort of tartlet thingy with a ragu filling, with a duck ragu filling. It is technically easy food. The soup is already sort of pre-made. I just need to heat it. So, and the same kind of goes for the ragu. But I also admit a part of that is due to me being. It's Friday. I need something easy, and I didn't consider grocery shopping yesterday due to the bank holiday, and it was raining. So, like yesterday was like a lot of rain showers here. So we are doing easy food today. But easy can also be good. Lisa's going to make fried pork sausage with mac and cheese. Doesn't sound too bad either. Susan says she made turkey chili yesterday, so my feeling is Susan is going to have leftovers today. Doesn't sound too bad either, except for the chili part, but I'm not so good with spicy stuff. Or my stomach doesn't take spicy stuff very well. My kids are taking me out for Mexican food tomorrow. Ooh, nice. That's definitely a good one. Birthday celebration. I mean, it's always good to be taken out. I did ask my partner what he wanted for his birthday. And he looked at me and said, "You can take me out for dinner." And I'm being like, "Yeah, but it's on a Tuesday." But I think he just wants to eat out at some stage. So I'm like, yeah, I could probably do that. But that's not going to be on the Tuesday itself when his birthday is. His birthday is in 3 weeks ish time. 3.5. It's in June. But we'll probably find something. I actually already got him his birthday present. I just need to have a card and write some stuff on it. But you know, that's fine. But he can get a dinner on top. That's okay. Just need to figure out where we will be eating then. So we'll have to wait until we get a bit closer so I can spot if the weekend before or after will be the better one. But it could also be fine on a Tuesday, on the other hand. My birthday is on a bank holiday. In our time, most things are closed. Yeah, so you got to do it before then or after then, right? My payday is next week. Hey! I mean, you know, we are getting closer. I definitely think this will happen. And I also think the cake change will happen before the end of this life. Meanwhile, it is 5:30. Sorry, no, 4:30. So 4:30 p.m. So it means that we have half an hour left to crack out this piece of this round. And it does look indeed like we will actually make it. It could be that I'm then also stopping crocheting. I mean, when we get so far, it's kind of fine-ish. And I need to figure out how to process with the waist coat pattern. I need to also find some time to sit down and read that. 2, 4, 6, 8. But yeah, this end is getting ever so closer. I haven't seen the actual knot yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be there. Lisa says, it's so windy here today. The weather in Winkler currently is sunny and windy with a temperature of 62 degrees Fahrenheit, about 17 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from west at 30 miles per hour. Holy crap! That's almost like it's a decent storm. And the current humidity is 47, 48 kilometers an hour. That's like half a hurricane. Lord, that is windy. Here it is almost wind still in comparison. It's gusting at 70 kilometers an hour. It sounds like you have like a spring storm of some kind, just no rain. Or did they predict rain as well, like rain showers? Or it's the storm before the rain. I mean, because that's a decent wind. It's supposed to rain this weekend. It's a storm before. Okay. We have tried that earlier this spring as well. It was really windy. And then the following day it was suddenly just rainy. That's a few weeks ago. Right now I would just be happy if the weather, but the weather is changing, you know, like I said, we're going into the 80s next weekend or into the 20s, mid 20s, which is crazy because now it's like what, 11 degrees. We had dust storm yesterday. We couldn't even see quarter of a mile. Wow. Where does that come from? Like, I mean, here when we have sort of dust storm like things, it's usually said it's sand from the Saharas blowing all the way up here. And when it happens, the cars kind of get like a red layer of sand. Doesn't happen often though, but it does happen. Then wind would also have been to be for this from the south. It is very agricultural, so a lot of fields blow up dirt. Yeah, okay. That can make sense too. Oh, if I see that correct, we are only about like a row around or so left on the cake. 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. But we are almost done with this round, which is awesome. So we are still technically able just to squeeze around in a live, but I mean, not much more than that. And with the increase coming up soon, I can tell you one thing for sure. That means that in the future we can't even finish a row in a live. So that is a good reason for me to work multiple projects. And I have given this a little priority as well outside because as I said I did work on it yesterday to kind of help speed up the process a little bit. When will we be finished? I don't know. Yeah, I don't even have the feeling we are halfway through because the cake still looks so big. This is still not changed. There the nut is. Haha, I found the nut. So let's just put in a stitch marker shortly. We do have this much left on the row. But what we do have here is a knot. Oh, it's not even that clear actually. It's a very tiny one for once. But it's right here. You see it. This is the darker, and then it goes lighter here. Because here it's like 2 coral and 2 flamingo, and here it's 3 coral and 1 flamingo strand twined together. So we'll cut the yarn here, and we will put away that cake. Just need to kind of round it up a bit. Cake done. The sense off for this time. We are gonna put it into a box. And then we'll take the darker cakes here and take up one. Doesn't matter which. They're the same. And then be ready to continue with this one. That should be the exact same as here, which is correct. Let's see if I pull it like that. That would be the most interesting pull. Yeah. Anyhow, we still have a little thread here to finish up, but we have a cake change. I don't want to give my exact address, but I can send a pin from my village. I could also just, I guess, have Googled Winkler, which is tiny, 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 tiny place. Right? Even your address looks like to be a tiny, not address, but even this area looks to be a tiny address. Because I don't think, are you in Winkler itself? Oh. Winkler. Because Winkler would be the bigger city, right? Let's pop over. No, you're in Schanzenfeld. Yeah, okay, that's just south of. Down here. That is a tiny place. Schanzenfeld definitely sounds German. And I see a church, and I see a Prairie Dale school, and I see another. They have 2 schools. Wow, that's impressive though. Or is it because one is like lower grades and one is higher grades? Because I'm like, this looks like a tiny place compared to Winkler seems to be the city in comparison. Lots of German names here. Yeah, you mentioned that you had quite Mennonites from of the Mennonites, right? Yeah, I can imagine then when there is lots of agricultural that there's definitely also opportunity for dirt storms. I was actually popping by and there was like this absolutely gorgeous road trip in Canada you could do for 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, oh yeah, sure. We are back to the investment of actually doing it. But I know my partner would absolutely love to go to Canada and do some hikes and, well, not necessarily hikes, but round trips and drive and see stuff there. And I definitely also would like to visit Canada at some stage for sure. One grade's 1 to 4, the other is 5 to 8. Oh, that makes sense. The bus kids in from the village to these schools, though, it's not just our village kids. Okay. It just happened to be where they decided it was the most central place to place the school, or whenever when it was built. You may like where I grew up is not necessarily a big city either, but the bigger grades gets the students bussed in as well from the surrounding cities. So I was so lucky that I didn't have to move school as a child because we lived close enough and in the right city, so to say. But I know that there has been like there are students that will have to um, change. Let's attach my new cake of yarn. I mean, um, that's hopefully gonna be easy peasy. Well, technically I should do that bit first, and then grab that bit. We skip to. So we officially have the new cake attached. What we do also need to do is I tend to make small bow ties on them. It just helps keeping track of those ends until they get even woven in. So we have ends here, and we'll make a nice little bow tie. Ta-ta. It helps keeping track of them, and they don't they don't run as quickly. It used to be every village had their own school, but over time they closed them down and centralized the school to our village. Makes sense. But my son doesn't go to either of those. He goes to the school in the next village. Let's see if Stina knows this German word. The next village is called Kortitz, I would say. I'm not so sure if I would relate it to a specific German word, but yeah, Kortitz could definitely be German. But I'm not sure where it's inspired from, based on that alone. Gortach. That sounds more Polish, almost. It's not from the Western German area. It sounds definitely more Eastern German, if anything. 4, 6, 8. It's from Rhineland? Okay. Doesn't say me anything. Sounds small. I've been to Rhineland quite a bit over the past few years, but I mean, Germany is still quite big. We even have a village near called Rhineland, and one is called Rheinfeld. That makes sense. So if I cross the border, I would drive into Westfalen in Germany. I would have to drive further south to get to Rhineland. But Rhineland is bordering Westfalen to the south. We are getting closer and closer to the end here. 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 5. I am cracking on for this to make the finish line. Oh, that's untied itself, my bow, from the previous row. So we shall retie it once we get to the end, because that seems to be a good time to do so. I think. Most of the Mennonites came from either Rhineland or Friesland areas. Friesland is more Dutch than. I can imagine though, because I know that up further north, Richting, in the direction of Friesland, they are more religious people compared to the region I live, so to say. You know, up there, you will have a community going to church every Sunday, and it is absolutely frowned upon should you dare do any homely chores on a Sunday, such as vacuuming or cleaning or whatever. Like, work is absolutely not allowed. And I'm like, the thing is, I work during the day, I clean in the weekend. And if Sunday is the day where I don't have any other appointments, I will clean Sunday. I don't care. But my friend told me she was living up there, and she basically had neighbors that would look really, really weird at her if they saw she was cleaning her home on a Sunday. I mean, what's the problem? But yeah, Sunday is a holy day apparently, so. 2, 4, 6, 8. Lisa says that's how it is here too. I don't care what people do on Sunday, but my neighbors just about called the police on me once for mowing my lawn on a Sunday. Yeah, wow. I mean, I guess they want silence on a Sunday, but that would be that. Then you should like make municipality rules if you want to do stuff like that, right? Like if it's not in law, it's prohibited, and it's just more religious thing. Yeah, no, just no. In my optics, be reasonable. Obviously, if you would do it on a Sunday night at let's say 10 p.m. in the evening, I would probably say, would you rather not do that another time? But if you would do it at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, I'm fine with that. I would not be very happy if you did it Sunday morning at 8, though. But like, let's say from 10 in the morning until maybe 8 in the evening, I would be fine with it on a Sunday. But that's because it's noisy and it's like it can't disturb peace. Not so much because of religion. if you don't want that on Sunday, then you better not go to a restaurant, convenience store, or gas station either. People are working there too. True. I mean, yeah, be realistic, right? Um, and none of us can survive without income, so we have to work in some way. It's not like we can't all go back to the trading society back when I have an extra carrot and you have an extra potato. Shall we share? Like, I give you a potato for a carrot. Um, like, we kind of evolved from that trading society, right? My goodness, it's gonna match very fine and nicely and dandy. Row almost complete. For some people, they can only work on weekends for a variety of reasons, but a big one is called childcare. Okay. So, like that, you are able to take care of your child because if you don't work on a weekend, then you don't have enough money. Or, I mean, some occupations require you to work on the weekend. Like if you work at the hospital, you can't just go home Friday afternoon and say, "Hey guys, I'm sorry if you're admitted to the hospital, but you got to take care of yourself until I'm back Monday morning." Um, that definitely wouldn't work, right? So people need to apply a little bit of logic, I guess. Um, in Germany, stores are definitely closed on Sundays. In the Netherlands, they are not. Neither are they in Denmark necessarily. Depends on, of course, where you are. But both Belgium and the Netherlands, even not the Netherlands and Germany, but the neighboring country, direct neighboring country of the Netherlands, they do have defined closed stores on Sunday. So I don't know if this is of being more religious or if they are just believing that people definitely need to have a set day where you're sort of off work regardless. I finished this row. Hallelujah. I'm not going to start the next because there's 4 minutes left on this stream. Or maybe 5, depends how long it takes to say goodbye. Just going to make a little bow tie to keep track of my ends. Because that was previous row. Oh my goodness. I should get up for once. I haven't done that for a bit. But as you can see, it's growing ever so nicely, gorgeously. And I really think we did the right color choice here for the center heart. I have a good feeling of this. A very good feeling. What I mean is one spouse works during the week and the other works part-time on the weekend. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I will get up for you guys so you can see the prettiness and me. Oh, that's not, I should get this one up too. Give me one moment. Let's head up here to show you guys, despite the attachments, trying to find the top of it, but I mean, we barely can be in a screen anymore. You barely can be in the screen anymore with this shawl. And it's so airy. Like, look at these ruffles. It's kind of gorgeous. Like, I'm not generally a ruffle fan, but in this case, I think it's nice. It looks good. So that is how it looks with the new color change. And the row we added today. We still have a way to go. That was row 45. Row 46 will contain more stitches. So we just finished this row at 1188 stitches. And next row has an increase, and it's not just 2 or 3 stitches increase. It's because all of the tips gets increases. I can see here, everything gets increases. That means that if we have 29 tips, plus we have 3 tips on the bottom and 29 on the other side, but that's 29 times 2 plus 3, that's 61 by 2 is 20. It's gonna be like 1400 stitches or something like that the next row. Quick math. I'm like 1400 stitches. So yeah, that's gonna be a long project to get through that round and the following round and the following round and the following round. Nail it to the wall. Yeah, well, good question. Lisa says, one question, how in the world are you going to block that monster? I am going to partial block it, which means that I will probably take one half side and the other half side. So I'm gonna look at doing it at multiple blocks, if that makes sense. But yeah, I've not really completely decided exactly how yet. But it should be possible doing half side, because it is, as you say, a monster. And I need to figure out how I best block the ruffles. What definitely can be blocked, and you could also do that in one session, is this centerpiece before the ruffles start. That can definitely easily be blocked out. The ruffle bit is the more dubious one for the blocking for sure. And Rev suggests me indeed to nail it to the wall. You could probably do that for blocking as well. Or I could put it on my grass, but I'm not so sure it's good. It could be dirty. I don't want to do that, honestly. Or I throw it on my double bed. But yeah, it gets moist, so that's not the best idea either. But technically, I guess that's big enough for it. So yeah, I haven't exactly figured out how I'm gonna do that yet, but it's gonna eventually happen. I have a few other projects I definitely need to block first, before we get there. Including the one I was going to send to my friend in Denmark. Yep. So that's pretty much it. It's 5 p.m. Lisa says, put it on the bed, just put towels under it. Yeah, I just don't know if my mattress would handle the needles very dandy well. I have to check. But it's definitely a suggestion. It's definitely a suggestion. But it could also just be that I do it partly, say like one side and one side. I'll have to see how that works out with the blocking mats I have. I do have a lot of blocking mats, but the question is if I have the floor space for it either. Rev is saying, hear me out. Yeah, I can't put nails in the wall here, mate. It's concrete walls. So I'll need to drill holes, and I will not be favored by that by my friend, so that's not happening. Hear me out. You have a ceiling that's not doing anything. True, I have a ceiling. I mean, the ceiling is right up there, but that's not possible either. That's also concrete. That said, it is 5 p.m. I really should wish everybody a happy weekend and happy stitching. And have a great time. I hope that you enjoyed today. I definitely enjoyed the company, your guys' company. We got to look at some nice projects. We got to craft, we got to chit chat, we got ideas for blocking, such as pinning it to the wall or hanging it from the ceiling. That's not a bad idea, actually. You know, there's plenty of ideas, and I will definitely find one that will suffice for my needs. I am sure. I think a good goal would be, if that's going to be the case, to have the Heart Collectors Shawl done by the beginning of July, because there is a weekend where my partner will be away, and I will have the house for myself, and then I can easier just do crazy, so to say, because I will be less in the way. So there is a possibility that I may consider using that Saturday for a full block. That could be a really good idea. I wanted to do that last year, but I had visitors that weekend. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I very much enjoyed my time in your company. Yeah, thank you for rewatching this live if you make it all the way to the end. Take care and happy crafting. And I will see you guys on Monday around 2 p.m. Central European Time. Love you all. Bye.